Former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Kofoworola Bicknor has made some damning allegation. We all know what happened back then. For those who do not know, she used to be Bola Ahmed Tinubu's deputy governor. People applauded and said Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the first person to bring in a woman, bring in women into politics, bring in someone as deputy. Did he do it out of duress? What really happened? You know, in our climate, it's difficult for you to have a woman around you dictating to you. Particularly if that person, according to the constitution, does not have that, last buck, the person that makes the last decision. Deputy, vice president are more or less useless somehow in the kind of government that we have in Nigeria. Now, let me take you back a little bit. Bicknor was deputy to Tinubu between May 1999 and November 2003. Both politicians, however, till date, they have not seen eye to eye. I mean, both of them have not come to that settlement. According to Kofoworola Bicknor, she said, he has different behaviors. In fact, he fought me with charms and all. Now, if you go back to those days, she claimed that Bola Ahmed Tinubu locked up a certain door that she is supposed to pass through, and she has to go through the back, and she said that back door is not safe. She said Bola Ahmed Tinubu will smoke weed in office, that he presented himself like, what people have been saying that he is, like a jagaban, like I am here. Now, what would have prompted a man to do this? What would have prompted him to do this? Is it that he was expecting Kofoworola Bicknor to shut up and accept whatever he throws at her, like speak to her in a mannerless, rough manner? Or is it that he expected Kofoworola Bicknor as deputy to go with him together, accept, agree on whatever he wants, either is wrong or right, without any opinion from her? Or is it that there are certain immoral things, activities that he wanted to get involved, and his expectation is that Kofoworola should back him up and say, yes, let's proceed? What happened between them? What happened? Is it a case of who is he? He can't tell me what to do. Or is it a case of who is she? I have to tell her what to do. What happened between both of them? Now that she's saying that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has different behaviors, of course, everybody has different behaviors. She said, so later, Afoshe Savage called me and advised me to resign. My mother also called me and reminded me that I am her only child and that she is not a young woman anymore, that she's aged. She asked me to resign. What does that mean? So these people will not kill you. At that time, Bola Ahmed Tinubu had the backup of the woman there on the island, the Tinubu woman. So it seems they are in control, in charge. They have what it takes at that time to do and undo. And she needed a stronger force to help weigh the forces that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is throwing at her. She talked about a lot of things that happened when she and Bola Ahmed Tinubu work together, spiritual attacks and certain things being put, and a lot. She said a lot of things happened. When you start having problems with your principal, you know what it means. You cannot proceed. He is mandated by law to be in charge. He has to make final decisions on certain things. He can only give you certain things to do, and you might become useless. He might decide not to give that to you. You might decide to give your job to somebody else to do, and you will only sit there to collect salary. You will not be able to have access to some contract or something. And if you do certain things that, you feel that you can do by yourself, it might, attack you or query you. Now, she said that she and Bola Ahmed Tinubu were both NADECO members. And NADECO was a pro-democracy organization whose members protested against the military government of General Sani Abacha over the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election, in which Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola won. This Nadeko push. Activism is part of what took Bola Ahmed Tinubu outside of Nigeria. He had to go on exile. He went to the UK. He lived in America. And that's where all of these stories of more stories came. It's not as if Bola Ahmed Tinubu, according to the allegation, has not been involved in this and that. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu probably felt he's more as a man, number one. Number two, he might feel that I have what it takes. Who is that one? How can you come to dictate and talk in this party? Now, when democracy returned, so-called democracy returned in 1999, Afenifere leaders convinced Bicknor Akerele to become Tinubu's deputy. However, things fell apart when Bicknor Akerele accused Tinubu of attempting to take over the Alliance for Democracy, AD. And she said Bola Ahmed Tinubu wanted me to go along following in that scheme. And she said, no, it is not possible. And that is where problems started. She said, no, I have to stand my ground. How can you want to take over this? No, you can't take over this. You can't. And, problems started. Problems started between them. Now, people are saying Bola Tinubu, he wants to always play dominant role and Nigerians should vote him at their own peril. And I'm like, seriously? There is never a balance per se. There is always, even between two male or two female, there is always one person who wants to be in charge, who thinks he or she has the best advice to give, who wants to caution other people when he or she has not cautioned himself or herself. You always have that amongst friends, family. You always have it. It's that the wife is the one in charge. The man is in charge, even if he's dumb. Between brothers, you always have someone who is always there like, I'm going to lead, I'm going to dictate. So we cannot blame Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but then that does not give room to violence or give room to oppression. But when you have a vice president or you have like the case of Buhari and Mr. Osibajo had that dream of becoming president. So he thought if he's humble and he presents himself as a dumb person to Buhari, he will be helped to get there. But as it is, he is nowhere to be found. In life, you have to calculate, you have to be very careful. There are times that you stand your ground. There are times that you stay humble like you know nothing. But if you do not balance it, you might fail. Maybe it will work for him later. So this Bicknor, according to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then she's unruly, she's this and that. Well, they said Juju, and people are saying, no, there's no Juju in this. Maybe Juju because Bola Ahmed Tinubu probably found out that she is also very hot in that field or something. I want to know. Maybe something to scare. Maybe, I don't know what actually. So they said, Bola Ahmed Tinubu had to connect with this and that to fight her and this and this and that. And they said, no, a vice or deputy or vice president, they are useless. Meaning they cannot make final decision. Of course, the constitution permits certain roles, but your principal can overrule you and say, no, you're not giving me what I want. I want somebody else to. It can allocate that job to someone else. This is the kind of politics or government that we have. So about Juju, they say, no, he doesn't need to introduce Juju. He brought you in as a deputy or accepted to, have you as a running mate. So what are you talking about here? Well, she has tried to speak at this time, which a lot of people might say, why now? Why now? Is it because he's running as president of Nigeria? But Ahmed Tinubu has pushed, he knows who are up against him. But I'm not saying that she should have accepted things that are wrong. You don't go along with a decision maker because the person is the president or is the Senate president or is the governor of a state. There are certain things that are wrong because these things will live after you. But make sure when you do this, you do it with tact. It's called politics. If you know this is just too much, better you voice out, leave that position. Voice out loud. Make your voice very loud. Calculate what you want to put out there. Make sure that that thing is very big. Don't come out talking about things that are, inconsequential. Make sure it's something very large and big. Make sure you speak and say, I am stepping down. That's how it's supposed to go. I am stepping down because I have spoken to my principal on this and this and this. Count out. Bring evidences of it. And this, my principal, is ready to go ahead with this thing. And for posterity's sake, I do not want to be part of it. That's what people are saying about Vice President Obseba. You say, look, man, Why are you supporting? You say you're a pastor. We expected more moral up, standard. Why are you, that kind of thing. So if you don't want to play politics, you want to be involved in terrible things and say, oh, life goes on, then you have to come out to speak. So about magic, juju, and all of that, they say Tinubu fought with voodoo. And people are saying, this is part of the culture. What are you talking, woman? What do you expect? If you're in a fight with someone, the person will also want to protect himself or herself. And if it takes spiritual, the person will do it. And they say, why are you coming out now? Is it because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is about to grab power? Come 2020. I use the word grab power because it is going to be a battle. It's going to be something that we'll see how it's going to be like. They say Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Agbado and cassava man. He said they should feed the soldiers with cassava and even have farms for them to work. That they should go there and fight. And, he said a lot of things. And people even spoke about how he was allocating questions and answer, when he went to the UK. And we'll see. After, 2023 election, we'll find out what it will become, what everyone will see. And Peter Obi is also doing his own. He's going around churches, meeting pastors in the hope that the election will be swayed in his favor. Yeah, that is the approach that he has at now that he can use. But he should know that church, which is supposed to have a lot of influence. You see how the Roman Catholic Church has influence back in those years, and they still have little influences when it comes to politics, little now. Back then they had power. Churches are supposed to have a lot, but now, I'm sorry, those churches have no power. They have no power at all to do anything. That's what it is. So what are your thoughts as regards this one? She said, Tinubu fought me with charms when I was his deputy. Do not forget to subscribe if you have not done so. The red notification icon bell is very important. Please do tap on it.